you for joining our open discussion about the socio-economic effect of marijuana use in legalized states. My name is Chinwe Corey. I've been a moderator for 5 years. Today in our panelists, we have Josh Womack, who's a lobbyist, Rosando Villarreal, who's a concerned citizen. We have Kanya Maliwan, who specializes in drugs testing, and we have Dylan Cipher, who's an economist that specializes in the financial impact of the legalization of marijuana upon the consumer. Our purpose today is to have an open discussion and to form about the effects of marijuana legalization upon the consumer and society. You're here because you're curious about legalized marijuana. Before we start, our guideline is panelists have 60 seconds to answer and respond to my question. No one speaks out of turn. And audience, please hold your questions after we concluded our discussion. First question. Josh, please tell me your stance on legalizing marijuana.
My name is Josh Womack, and I am for the legalization of marijuana, specifically the impacts it has on a society as a whole. And according to Forbes magazine, the overall effects of marijuana legalization on society is positive, chief among them being the reduction in drunk driving fatalities. In states where medical marijuana has been legalized, within the first year, drunk driving fatalities have dropped 10%. And that is why I believe it is beneficial to society.
Thank you. Rosando, please state your stance on legalized marijuana.
Hi, my name is Rosando Villarreal. I'm a concerned citizen. I'm against legalization of marijuana. I believe that it has very negative consequences in society. One of many things that marijuana causes is psychosis. As you know, psychosis is to distinguish between what is real and what is not, the inability to do that. Also, many studies from Austin police showed that more than 50% of the people that is apprehended found to be in possession of marijuana. By this, I think there's a link between crimes and the use of marijuana. Also, the rise of the costs for the health in the country will be high, really high.
Thank you. Kanya, please state your stance on legalized marijuana.
Hello, my name is Kanya Maliwan, and I am pro-consumption in regards to legalization of marijuana. My first point is that consumers are not properly protected by drug tests that are conducted in the workplace. It is a major violation to the right to privacy, especially in regards to random drug tests. Drug tests create a sense of resentment among employees and employers because of this violation to privacy. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, one of the main concerns is that companies sometimes will require somebody to sit in and observe an employee while they participate in a drug test, and this is a major violation to their privacy, especially if it's a urine sample kind of testing. And also, if an employee refuses to take a drug test, which they are legally allowed to do, the result is consumer repercussion as if they tested positive for a drug test. And this is why drug tests are not fair to workers and their job.
Thank you. And Dylan, please state your stance on legalized marijuana.
Hello, my name is Dylan Cipher, and I am opposed to the legalization of marijuana on a consumer level for both consumers and non-consumers. For consumers, it increases usage and will increase both prices and standardization of the product. For consumers, that is a very negative thing. And then for non-consumers, a legalization of marijuana would increase exposure both for them and their children to the drug marijuana, which can have negative effects, especially during the young ages. Bloomberg Business Week states that there is a 25% added tax along with a 8.75% tax on state-run marijuana products. This resulted in an increase from $250 per ounce for a street drug to $400, which is a major impact upon the consumer, and so I'm opposed to the legalization of marijuana.
Thank you. Rosanna, do you believe marijuana has a negative effect in the work performance?
Thank you. Complementing my past answer, yes, it affects the work. Obviously, there are many studies, one from Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, that shows that the 55% of the workers have industrial accidents, 85% more injuries, and 75% increase in absenteeism compared with those tests negative in the urine tests. Also, as a concerned citizen, I wouldn't like to have a doctor or a police officer that attends me under the influence of this drug, marijuana.
Thank you. Kanya, if marijuana is legalized in certain states, why do consumers still feel unprotected in their working environments?
Well, drug tests present a high rate of inaccuracy. Per the National Work Rights Institute, drug tests only read up to 30% accurate most of the time. So drug tests are not an accurate method of determining whether drugs are actually affecting an employee's performance during their working hours. For example, if marijuana was consumed recreationally or medically at a time, weeks later, it can still be detected in a drug test. So I'm offering up an alternative to drug tests, which is impairment testing, which tests an employee's current state of being by measuring their skills such as hand-eye coordination and quick decision-making, which are essential skills to have in the workplace. And so this is why I am against drug testing, because consumers are not properly protected by them because they're a violation to their privacy and really inaccurate.
Thank you. Josh Formack. Josh Formack, please tell me why you believe marijuana is beneficial to society.
All right. According to a study done by Daniel Reese, an economist at University of Colorado, both alcohol and cigarettes are substitutes for marijuana. Now, because marijuana is illegal in most states, this leads to an increase in consumption in alcohol and cigarettes. As you can see, I put these Band-Aids here to represent the deaths that alcohol causes, which is 80,000 US deaths a year. And these red ones represent 50,000 deaths each, because cigarettes cost 450,000 deaths in the US per year. In the 5,000 years that marijuana has been around, it has not been attributed to a single death. And that is a pretty solid argument for legalizing a drug that we spend $80 billion a year enforcing ridiculous laws restricting it. And that is why I'm for the legalization of marijuana.
Thank you. Dylan, how would drug testing affect an individual if marijuana were to be legalized?
Well, I feel that drug testing is important in the workplace, especially if marijuana were to be legalized, as according to the University of Washington's Alcohol and Drug Abuse Institute, marijuana can cause short-term memory loss, impaired thinking, decreased concentration, decreased alertness, and reaction time. All of these things are very dangerous in a workplace, especially in a manual labor workplace. The truth is that current drug testing is not up to snuff. As Kanya was saying, it can either come up, there are some people where drugs can show up 1 to 5 days later and that's it, but others can be who have smoked can be brought up as long as 6 weeks later. This is not a good way to test for drugs, and it's not a good way to show safety in the workplace. So impairment testing is probably the best idea. Along with that, as an individual working, while high, you can put others in danger, and that is not good for your business, not good for the company, and not good for yourself or the people you work with. So that is why I feel that marijuana testing is necessary, especially in a situation where marijuana is legal.
Thank you. This concludes our open discussion on marijuana and its effects to society. I'd like to restate what our panelists have discussed. We have Josh Formack, who believes marijuana is beneficial to society. It is less detrimental compared to alcohol, cigarettes, and work performance are not affected. In contrast, we have Redondo BRL, who believes marijuana is detrimental to society. It affects the work performance and is as a consumer risk. We have Kanya Maliwan, who believes marijuana drug testing is a violation to privacy rights, that it's a violation to privacy rights, and drug testing is most likely inaccurate. And last but not least, we have Dylan Stonecipher, who believes that it affects consumers, and the price and consumer behavior will change with marijuana being legalized. And it does, and drug testing is inaccurate as well. I'd like to thank my panelists and the audience for joining our discussion about marijuana. And thank you, and now I open the floor with questions. Yes, please.
I'd like to know a little more information on the procedures for doing an impairment test versus a drug test, or just a natural drug test.
So our audience wants to know how are the procedures for impairment tests done?
Well, impairment testing is usually done at a scheduled time, so they're not random for the employees. And they get usually either a group of people or individuals one at a time to test, like I said earlier, hand-eye coordination, reaction time, quick decision making, to measure whether any drugs in their system are actually affecting their work performance, rather than something that was taken weeks ago or 30 minutes ago that hasn't shown up in their system yet.
Thank you. I have a question. Kanya, should employers have the right to drug screen their workers?
I believe they do have the right to. I think that it is important to screen their employees to ensure a safe environment and to have reliable employees, but I don't think it should be a determining factor by firing an individual. But I suggest that if it's an reoccurring problem, that they fund the individual into a rehabilitation program to improve their performance.
Thank you. Redondo, do you believe employers have the right to screen their workers?
Thank you. I believe that yes, they should do that. It is important it is important to have in the head the employer and respect their rights.
Thank you. Dylan, do you believe should employers have the right to drug screen their workers?
Absolutely. If you are having an inebriated individual in your workplace, you should be able to find out about that. We would not allow a drunk individual to work in a workplace, so why should we allow an individual who is high on drugs to work in a workplace? So yes, I absolutely feel an employer's rights are to drug test their employees.
Thank you.
There's discussion on how the drug can stay in the system for up to 6 weeks. How long is a person generally under the influence after consuming marijuana?
The question was, how long is marijuana in the system?
It can vary depending on the individual and how much they've consumed. It can go anywhere from, I believe, 2 hours to 4 hours, but there are various ways to consume marijuana. For instance, pot brownies will last longer than if you smoke a marijuana cigarette. So there's a variety of ways that it can stay in your system, but it definitely will not stay in your system for any longer than like 6 hours.
Yes, and Josh, how long, the question was, how long would marijuana be in your system?
Usually about 2 to 4 hours when smoking, up to 12 hours when taken orally. But it can stay in your cells. THC bonds with your fat cells and stays in your system for up to 30 days, depending on your fat percentage, which is really unfair when you compare it to other drugs that are mostly in your system for 2 to 3 days. And the current drug testing policies in workplaces often lead to people consuming harder drugs because they stay in your system for a shorter period of time than marijuana.
Okay, thank you. This concludes our discussion on marijuana and the socioeconomic effects in legalized states. Our panelists will be here after we leave for more questions. Thank you.